Yeah, because what it does, they defer their state taxes. You pay, instead of you paying.
All right, folks, we're going to get ready to
paying
start.
taxes to the state, you would pay it to you. So,
All right, good evening. Today is Monday, May 20th. I'm going to call the RTM annual budget meeting back into session. For the record, Representative Umritz, Representative Perella, and Representative Cadden will not be with us this evening. The Whitneys, M and F Whitney, will be trying to join a little bit later on. I will ask the town clerk to call the roll, please.
Okay, Representative Adams.
Here.
Recording in progress.
Bailey.
Representative Bailey, you're here? I see him.
You do, okay. Burrell.
Here.
Casper.
Here.
Crockett Hubbard. Din Shinbrock.
Here.
Dudden.
Here.
Fetters. Fitzgerald.
Here.
Fritchie. Fox.
Here.
Frickman. Garner.
Here. Here.
Ooh,
Frickman is here.
Frickman is
Yep.
here, okay. Gibbs. Good.
Here.
Hanscom.
Here.
Herbert. Johansson. Keep.
Here.
Luck. Massett. I see her.
Here.
McElroy.
Here.
Norman.
Here.
Aubrey. Powers K.
Here.
Powers S.
Here.
Pulaski.
Here.
Robertson. V.C. Williams.
Here.
Watson.
Here.
Wells.
Here.
Humble.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. All right, so we got 24 members present, so I can declare a quorum and we can move on with the town's business. So we have a few accounts to deal with first, and then we have some CIPs to deal with after that. So if I could recognize Representative Dean Shinbrot, she can come on up. Wait, hold on. Representative Adams, you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Before Dean Shinbrot starts her reading, I'd like to move a number to save some time.
Okay.
I would like to move the number of $18,755,580. That covers all four of those accounts.
Okay, I hear your motion, but I would need a second in order to do that. Okay, so the motion was moved and seconded, moved by Adams, seconded by Dean Shinbrot. The number on the floor right now is for $18,755,580. I'm going to put that on the board and just hold tight. Okay, before I give you the floor, Representative Adams, for this is going to, of what I'm understanding, it's something that we had done similar in this budget session. This is covering account 1035 Public Works, 2020 Super Operating Funds, 2030 Solid Waste Fund, and 6040 Fleet Reserve Fund. I give you the floor.
Yeah, the number I have proposed is what the town council came up with when I added them all together, and what the Public Works Committee agreed to also. So saving some time, I figured let's move the whole thing in one lump sum.
Okay, thank you. I open up the floor for debate on this. Representative Powers S.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I would just like to hear the minutes so that we could hear the minutes, and I'm not against moving the one number.
Okay. So if I can recognize Representative Dean Shinbrod, if you can please submit your minutes for these 3 accounts, and then we will approve the minutes as presented for those accounts. Thank you.
All righty, continuing on, we had, we count 1035. Greg Hanover gave an overview of public work budget and functions. And Stacy and Bob Schreck participated in the presentation. Town council number was $6,970,432, and it was moved and approved for nothing. The next was account 2020 sewer operating fund. Greg gave an overview in the sewer operation and sewer use charges. Town council and managers numbers of $8,061,788 was moved and passed for nothing. Account 2030, solid waste. Greg gave an overview of all things solid waste related. The town council and managers number of $1,831,626 was moved and passed 4 to nothing. And the final account in that number is 6040 Fleet Fund. Greg and Bob gave an overview, a discussion centered on the new undercarriage washing station soon to be in place. Gary asked if we can repair fire trucks for local fire departments again, as this has been done in the past. Bob explained that there just wasn't the physical space. The town council and managers number of $1,891,734 was moved and passed for nothing.
Okay.
That's it.
I'm going to hold off on you approving those minutes as presented because we have a main motion on the floor. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to just open up the floor for discussion on the main motion for those 4 accounts. Representative Pulaski. It's working.
I'd like to ask a question about account 1035. They are anticipating an increase in utilities cost of $75,000. I'd like to find out what % of the electrical supply served there is from Groton Utilities and how much is from other places, because Groton Utilities cut their electric rate by over 9%. So perhaps we should know.
Okay. I'm going to recognize Director Hanover. He's Director of Public Works.
Well, thank you for that question. You know, when we saw that article in the paper, we actually had my staff take a look at that as well. And, you know, Groton Utilities, we have, you know, buildings like this facility, the library, town hall, streetlights that are in the Groton Utilities area. But actually, the traffic signals and the streetlights, the way they bill us, there's actually going to be an increase for those. And the savings for the school, or not for the schools, but for the town buildings, is only came out to like $2,400, based on, you know, the usage that we did last year. So the savings was pretty insignificant for you know, our facilities. When you add in all the charges and the fees that they include in their bills, you know, I'm not sure if the energy, electrical actual cost is going down, but a lot of other things are actually going to increase. So the bottom line is that really there was no savings whatsoever for what, you know, we were budgeting for FYE 25.
Yes, but you're anticipating a rise, not a flat.
That this is, you know, looking at what the rise is going to be. It's still, we feel that the budget, it went up from this year, just for Groton Utilities, about $30,000. And that's, you know, what we're anticipating that the increase is going to be. And also, just to remind everybody, electricity, you know, this is a budget. If it's a really hot summer and we have air conditionings going, it's going to, you know, the demand is going to go way up, and so could the cost. But if we look at, you know, try to compare apples to apples from this year to what we anticipate next year, there really is no savings.
Director Hanover or Town Manager Byrd, if you could just clarify too, when we've been doing these budgets throughout these past couple of weeks, any decrease in what we anticipated as a budget would end up going back to the general fund, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, is there any other discussion on the main motion on the floor for the 4 accounts? Representative Fritchie.
This isn't I just would like you to repeat the 4 accounts again, so that.
Okay, for clarification purposes, we are going to restate that if you take a look at our little list of to-dos for today, it's the first 4 accounts. 1035 Public Works, okay, and the Public Works account is the Town Council as well as the RTM number of $6,970,432. The other account is 2020 Sewer Operating Fund, $8,061,788. This was approved through Town Council as well as RTM. We also have 2030 Solid Waste Fund. This was the same number that came from the Town Manager, approved by the Town Council as well as the RTM Committee of $1,831,626. Lastly, account 740, Fleet Fund. 6040. $1,891,734 was the Town Manager's number, the Town Council approval, and RTM Committee approval. And the total is $18,755,580. Representative Norman?
Hi, on account 1035, can you talk to me a little bit about the 25% increase in professional and technical services, 5290?
Sure. This covers a variety of services that we hire. One of the key drivers here is right now we have a severe shortage of engineering, in-house engineering. We're down 2 positions right now. So we anticipate that we're going to need to hire local consultants to do some of the work that we would normally do in-house. So in addition to the salary savings, we had, estimated that that's going to be about $75,000. There's also the backup batteries for the emergency UPS system up at the police station dispatch center. Those batteries have reached the end of their life. They need to be replaced, and that's about a $40,000 price tag. And there's a few other things like we have to do some tank, above ground tank, our fuel tanks, some integrity testing. That, DEP is requiring now, so that's, we have to bring in a testing firm for that, and that's about a $20,000 price tag.
Got it. And the batteries you talked about fall under professional and technical services, not under the equipment and machinery line item that also had a big increase?
Yes, that's where we put it, just because we're hired a professional or technical services company to come in and replace those.
Got it. And you mentioned that you're down a couple engineers. I don't see a difference in personnel counts, I don't think.
Yeah,
on here.
The positions are still there. We're still trying to fill them. It's just that with the demand for engineers right now, and we're having a hard time filling those positions.
Got it. Shouldn't it be one or the other then? If it's either going to be consultants or FTEs, you should not double charge as if you're going to do both?
This is in addition. Even if we get the salary savings for not filling those positions, we still need money on top of that to hire consultants, because consultants are inherently more expensive.
I thought you had to hire consultants because you didn't have those people in.
I just don't have people to do it, but the cost of the consultants is higher
more, but then you wouldn't have the FTEs.
But I still, in addition to the salary savings, you have the salary savings, plus the additional funds are needed to hire a consultant to do that work that I can't do.
I think what I'm worried about is I don't see the salary savings on here, because you have all the salaries and FTEs still there. You have no cuts. So I don't know where the salary savings are.
Well, you don't actually change those, because the hope is to eventually fill them. We're not getting rid of positions, but until they're filled, we've had one for over 2 years open. Is that right, Greg? one for over 2 years and one, but we need to fill them eventually. So we're not gonna get rid of them. So the engineers are just more expensive than the actual employees. So you have the cost of the employees plus extra to hire the engineers.
And so what's the salary of the 2 engineers that we're missing?
It would be like the 102 plus 83, so you're 185.
Okay, and so I hear you that consultants cost more, but if I cut, sorry, I hear you that consultants cost more, but if we cut 182, 385, that can go anywhere on here. So if you fill those lower end positions, more like a little bit, some goes back to the general fund. If you have to use that whole thing for consultants, you're using up that money. But right now you both have 2 positions and the consultants to fill those 2 positions in this budget at the same time. And so I think that this budget is potentially inflated by $183,000.
It's not. What he's saying is that 183 for the outside engineering, it's 183 plus the other money. It's much more expensive than actually hiring people.
But
So
the number is 1.1 million. It's not 183,000. That was what I was asking. And
Yeah,
he
there's-
said the increase by 25% was because, and maybe there's another piece there and we can correct the record, but it was because those positions weren't filled, so we needed outside consultants. But those unfilled positions are still also in the budget. So
Right.
I feel like we're double counting here.
It's not double counting. Do you have a better way of explaining it?
What I'm hearing.
If we happen to fill both positions right now, the only thing you would save is that extra engineering.
For consultants, is
Right.
that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
all of that 183 will be eaten up with consultants if we don't hire anybody, plus the other money budgeted. And we do that. We use some outside now for that. We've been using them, yeah.
So.
And things are back.
I think I understand what you're saying.
There's
So
no
you're
extra
saying-
in there.
You're saying that it is the difference, this 1.1 million is the difference between what you'd have to pay fully loaded consultants and the full FTEs, not your full consulting budget.
Well, he'll double check that. But we don't, we want to hire the people if
Oh, yeah,
possible.
totally.
And so we want to keep that money there. And that money can be moved around. If we don't have people, it'll just keep moving towards the contracted engineers.
So what I'm hearing is, Representative Norman, is that there's a pocket of money for the 2 full-time employees.
That's what I
But there is also an excess amount that is put in for those consultant
Yeah,
fees.
that's what I'm
which-
just trying to confirm.
Which, again, this and that could end up, if we don't find the full-time employees to fill those town positions, would be consumed by the consultants that we need in order to
Okay.
pay for those specific functions from the consultants.
Great. So what is your estimated contract for those consultants for those 2 roles? All in?
The 180 plus the 75, so. what-
No, for the as contractors, as consultants.
The 250,000, is that what that is?
Okay, so in the 1.1 million, it's just a $75,000 difference. Just 75K of that is the
I'm
consultants.
sorry, which 1.1 are you looking at? Which account
And
number?
you're requesting under professional and technical services
the
on page
5290.
111, 5290.
Yes, it's only 75 of that 1.1 million is for the engineering services. The rest of it is, for, we have our custodial under there. There's a whole gamut of services that go under that account.
Okay, and the other increases that, you said the batteries for 40K
Yeah,
and the 75K for those consultants. But that would still, if I take those down, that would still only put that line item at 950. So what other, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to, because that was 25% more, I'm trying to figure that out here.
cleaning's around 400.
400 for the cleaning
Yeah.
services.
I'm sorry, did you just say it was like 400,000 for cleaning services?
That more than last year?
No, that part, that, well, other than we're bidding it out, it's probably gonna go up, but it's 400,000 currently for it. Okay, Scott.
Yeah, we also, under that, we also have our MS4, which is our stormwater testing, our flare testing at the landfill, roadside maintenance, all our tree clearing, all those functions add up to the.
Yeah, I want to know why it's increasing by 300,000. That's like quite a big increase over the prior year, and that's what I'm trying to get to. That's a big jump.
Let me see what else is. My other list here.
Did you say there was about a $200,000 increase? And again, the majority of that, as Representative Norman had stated, was in anticipation of having to have these consultants working on these specific tasks that we do not have full-time employees in order to do those tasks. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But hold on, sorry, you said that one of these jobs has been vacant for 2 years. Two have been vacant for 2 years, so we've already had consultants doing those. So we're saying we're paying the consultant $75K. I can move off of this in a second. I just,
We've had one for 2 years, one for what, maybe a year-ish ballpark. And I don't know if you see the articles on the DOT that can't find engineers, and we just, the
sure.
professional engineering.
So the consulting cost, even though we've had it, we're going to pay consultants $75K more.
Than
that
what
contract has
positions would come.
grown by
Yeah.
$75K for those 2 spots
right?
over the last 2 years.
Yes.
I think if
And
when
then
I'm not mistaken, we actually approved the budget for Public Works with those vacant costs for the last 2 years. I mean, I was only on last year, but we approved the budget anticipating hopefully finding this person, but we never got that person, and we needed the consultant in order to
So 75 there.
offset that.
40 for the battery, 75 for that. And it's $200,000 increase, not 300.
Yeah, and then the custodial, we did increase that slightly because we are in the midst of contract renegotiations, so that went up like 25,000. And as I said before, we have some tank testing we need to do, that's about another 20,000. We have to develop some stormwater pollution control prevention plans. We need a consultant for that, that's around 20,000. And our MS4 consultant, which does our stormwater, is, we anticipate that's going to be another 15,000 above this current year.
Got it. So I will stand again. I will let this be. The one thing I will say is if 2 contractors, the cost of those folks is going up $75,000 a year, so that's over $30K a head, year over year on that, I do think we should ask ourselves the question of if we should raise the FTE salaries by like $15K or something so that we don't continue to have these increases.
Yeah, we are looking at options, and part of that's in a collective bargaining agreement, so it's not going to happen quickly.
Is there any other discussions on the main motion on the floor for the 4 accounts that are proposed by Representative Adams? All right, seeing none, I'll call for a vote on the accounts 1035 Public Works, 2020 Sewer Operating Funds, 2030 Solid Waste Fund, and 6040 Fleet Reserve Fund. The main motion on the floor is for $18,755,580. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimously, 24 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. Thank you. All right, we are now going to go on. Don't go anywhere, Representative Dean Shimbrock, because you have some CIPs to take care of. There's a host of them here.
Yes, there.
If you want to go through them one at a time, we can do that.
I think there was only one that we didn't agree with the town council and number. Actually, we lowered it.
Well, let's just start with 1A, if we can,
1A,
please.
CIP roads, the pavement program. Greg explained that the roads are given a rating of 1 to 100 based on the condition of the road. Chair Dean Shimbrat suggests that Industrial Drive could be cut. Only Amtrak vehicles use this road. So the number $1,030,000 was moved. It was a $270,000 reduction in the town council number. This passed 3-1 with Representative Wells casting the no vote.
Please move that number.
Sure, it was 1,030,000. So I would like to move $1,030,000 for account, CIP Roads 1A.
Okay, motion was moved by Chair Shinbrat, seconded by Representative Keep. 1A. Okay, we are at A, Town Pavement Management Program. Yes, absolutely. I'll give the floor over to Director Hanover and Town Manager Burt to discuss this item, and then I'll start taking hands. Adams and Good. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, the town manager's budget was for $1.3 million for this. The committee cut, as Representative Shinbrat said, Industrial Drive, which is $270,000. The reason we have this road in here, first of all, it's a pavement condition index of 8, which is one of the probably the 5 worst roads in town. Granted, most of it is mostly used by Amtrak personnel. There are a few houses off this, but it is also about half of the length of this road is used for the bike path from the GNS trolley trail through Knoxville Court and then down to Depot Road. So, you know, I've been putting this road off for a while, but finally decided that it was time to do this because, you know, our Parks and Rec department just got a grant to really expand the bike lanes in this area. And then also there's a bicycle pump track coming very soon to the parklet by Depot Road. So it's really, you know, a project to improve the road, not only because it's a town road that, you know, just to provide proper access for Amtrak, but also really just for the, to improve it as the bikeway.
And you can see starting at Knoxville going north is the really poor condition. And let me show you a couple pictures of that area.
Yeah. I have a video of that road. I drove it 6 times in the past week. Awful. Jesus. I thought they were going to call the police on me.
You see there, yeah, that whole section is pretty rough.
But from the entrance for the bike lanes to Depot Road, it's in great shape.
It's in better shape than those pictures show, but I wouldn't say it's in great shape.
I got to ask this question because we're in a world of technology. Were there any filters used on those pictures?
No.
All right.
Mark, did you have anything to add?
Director Barry?
Yes, good evening. Yeah, I really think it's a safety issue. You know, we are working to improve community connectivity. That was one of the highest rated needs in the recreational needs assessment that was done in 2022. And as Director Hanover mentioned, we got a $344,000 grant to improve connectivity in that area. From Midway Oval over to Knoxville Court, and leaving this section out, you know, it's just creating a gap in this loop that we're trying to create, and we're going to see a lot more traffic along that road. I went down there myself today, and you know, there are really large trucks that are traveling down that road, and I think anything that we can do to make that road safer for all of those using the bike path and getting over to the pump track is really essential. It's a safety issue in my mind.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. Again, I drove it 6 times in the past few days. Going from where the bike track entrance is, the bike lane on into the housing development, to where Amtrak is, where it's rutted. Granted, it's in rough shape. We don't want children walking back there, do we? I mean, there's nothing for them. It's industrial. I don't think we wanted people there. Maybe I'm wrong.
I guess I would ask Director Barry as well as Town Manager Burton, Director Hanover. I mean, this is abutting a residential neighborhood, is that correct? And I mean, you know how kids are, they're free roamers sometimes,
So
so.
it is fenced. It's fenced at that point. I don't know how Amtrak feels about it. I'm sure they want it paved.
Yeah, it does abut a residential area. And there are a few residential homes that do get access off Industrial Drive at the, near the Depot Road end.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on the main motion on the floor? Oh, yeah, sorry, my bad, I got a little, Adams, Representative Adams, followed by Good, and I got you, Powers S as well, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'd like to move another number, please.
Yes.
I'd like to move $760,000, please.
That would require a second. All right, motion moved by Adams, seconded by Dean Shinbrot. First amended figure on the floor for 1A is $760,000. You have the floor, Representative Adams, to discuss your motion.
Well, I'm just sort of kind of, if you want to say, chopping out Colonel Ledyard Highway, trying to save the taxpayers some more money.
Okay. And again, for those.
Ask a question?
Yes, and for those that don't know, it's on page 215, and there's a list on our CIP account for 215. And so I guess I'm just getting clarification from Representative Adams that is eliminating the $270,000 for Colonel Ledyard paving. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay.
I still have other hands to go with here, so Representative Good, you have the floor on the first amended figure on the floor of $760,000.
Yeah, I'd like to move to a new number, $1,300,000.
Okay, who seconded that? Norman? Okay, the motion was moved and seconded for a second amended figure of $1,300,000, which is an increase on this account. I'm trying to just make sure that we're in order on this.
Town council.
Okay, it is the town council number, okay. Thank you. You do have the floor, Representative Good, if you'd like to speak to that motion.
Just to restore the town council's number. I know these roads are starting to get rough, and it's important to take care of them now.
And could I?
Go ahead, Tommy.
Just want to make a couple of comments. As it is, we have trouble maintaining our PCI. Our goal is at least, what, minimum 70? Yeah. Historically, they had been paid through CIPs, but the council had moved towards bonding them, which has extra costs involved because they were getting cut at the RTM. We ran out of the bond dollars a couple of years ago. We thought, well, we'll try it for a couple of years. But if we start lagging on keeping up with the roads, this is at the bare minimum, doing around the 1.3 now. We did a study a few years back, looking at the city and the town highway budget. The city was spending about the amount they should. We were really lagging on what we should spend on roads. So as it is, we're not keeping up. But my recommendation to the council is to maybe bond it back out if we have to.
Okay, so just to be clear with this second amended motion on the floor of $1.3 million, that's going to be a restoration of funds. Do we need to get a 2/3 vote on that?
No, that was just a recommendation.
Okay. All right, very well. Okay, that's right. So we just need a simple majority. I just wanted to make sure we got everything in line before that. Okay? Who else is on there? Did we get a new person?
Aubrey.
Oh, Representative Aubrey, hi, welcome. We now have 25 members present. It's good to see you. All right, so is there any other discussion? Representative Powers, yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I just have a few questions as far as the first road, the Industrial Drive Road. I've driven on it more times than I can tell you, going out to Bluff Point, riding my bike. So it's not a good road, but it's a road that a bike can ride on, first of all. I'm curious to know what the traffic count is on that road. Do we have any idea?
I do not.
Okay, and as far as Colonel Ledyard Highways, I've been on that road. I take care of properties up right on the line between Ledyard and East and Groton. And that road's not in a bad state either. I don't know your criteria to all of it, but I do get on these roads rather frequently. I'm not in favor of cutting anything at this point in time, but we increased the school budget quite a bit this year. And I do believe that the industrial road, if we were going to make a cut, it would be on that road. Because there's ways of fixing the roads when it comes to traveling it. You know, we can put stone dust on it, we can put the reprocessed tar on it. The other roads are totally different to me. They're public roads with much traffic and a lot more liability than I think the industrial road is. My other question is, does Amtrak do any kind of funding for the road, since they're the major access to the road?
No,
I mean,
it's a town road.
so they have no, so that's the old Ambit Road, basically, is what we're talking about. So, you know, if I vote for anything, I'll vote for the main number that was put out there by the committee, because I think that road can wait. Thank you.
Just to make one comment, that eventually, no matter what, you'll have to do the road. So if you push that off and you're trying to keep up with everything else, you're going to run into where they crash into each other, where you don't have enough money, you know, to spend. So I really recommend spending the 1.3.
I can only give you my twin pennies from being here for at least a decade now. Cost escalations over a year average about 3.5%. So if this ends up not getting done this year, expect that number to end up increasing by that number as well, okay? All right, is there any other discussion on the first amended figure on the floor of $1.3 million for 1A CIP? Yes, Representative, before I get a second time hand, I'm going to go with Representative Wells. Thank you.
I'm having trouble getting my head around this. It seems like they have a plan for $1.3 million going forward to bring the roads up. And I'm not in favor of paving by popularity contests, because we frequently get, my God, when are you going to do this? Or what about that pothole? Why don't you do this road? And this PCI number looks good. And if we don't fix these, if we don't fix all these, these are going to get worse, and other roads are going to fall out of favor. So I think it's better to just move ahead rather than figure. I think, as the moderator mentioned, we get the money stuck on next year. You'd have to increase it for a period. And frankly, I don't see, we're not talking materials and labor. We provide our own labor.
Correct.
So I'm not sure, how does this fit? We just get a little less asphalt and then see how far we can spread it? I guess that's...
Well, we estimate, we have a contractor come in that does a reclaiming, which is they grind up the old asphalt in with the gravel, and then they grade it out for us. And then we come in and purchase the asphalt materials, and, you know, our own crews spread it and roll it. But, you know, the estimates that are in the CIP are based on, you know, the town doing that. With the exception of like Colonel Ledyard Highway and Culver Avenue, we have those numbers are based on a contract to come in and do a mill and pave, which they just take down a couple inches, and because they're you know, much longer roads. Like Colonel Ledyard's a much longer road, so we would have a contractor pave that one, similar to what we did with Flanders Road and Buddington Road a couple of years ago.
Well, I'm in favor of the 1.3 million number. It's not now, later. It's going to be 1.4 million next year, or 1.5 or something to get this. Either that or the PCI numbers are just going to drop down, and we're going to have, suddenly we'll have a road that's not, that hits the unpopularity index, and we hear about it a lot. Thank you.
And again, just a question for Director Hanover, we're doing these evaluations of roads annually, is that correct? And I guess you and the town manager have selected this batch of roads based on that number.
Yeah, we had the roads inspected, basically they're inspecting all the distresses in the asphalt, and that was done about 3 or 4 years ago. We're probably due for another inspection maybe next year. But there is a curve that the roads will follow. The worse they get, the faster they fall in the number. So just like, paint on a house, the first couple of years it looks great, but then all of a sudden it just starts getting worse, and before you know it, it's just peeling off big sheets. It's the same thing with us, the roads. So the PCI numbers are not going to stay stagnant. They will follow that curve on the computer.
Okay. Before I recognize second-time hands, again, I had Representative Good first, then Powers, but I have Representative Burrill. You have the floor, sir.
Yeah, I want to speak on the industrial drive thing. I walk my dogs on that street every day for the last 10 years. Okay, the area from the entrance to the Amtrak facility at the bike cross has been repaved. I'm not going to say recently, but the road is actually in better shape than Midway Oval and a lot of other roads that have just been repaved. The area back to the dead end is what you saw the pictures of. Of course, the only people that use that are Amtrak and the people that want to use the second town dump at the end of that street. Also, back when the road was in decent shape, it made for the Four Hill Homes drag strip a really nice place to go race your car, because there's nobody that lives on that road down at the end, and the traffic is nothing. You can almost basically remove the pavement and leave it as a dirt road. That road from that bike cross down to the dead end is not used by anybody but Amtrak.
No, I see our town mayor, Councilor Rachel Franco here, so I just wanted to recognize her as an ex officio member. Maybe she would give some insight on this, on the town council.
Thank you.
Only speaking for herself, of course.
Only speaking for myself, of course. So this has been the fear all along, is that the paving would be, it's usually, from what I understand, the easiest to cut at the RTM. And we were worried that if it ever did get cut, we would have to go back to bonding. And I want to remind you that the cost of bonding is not cheap. And even in your book, on page 204 and 205, is where we have our current bonding. So if, I understand some of the concerns regarding Industrial Drive and potentially even Colonel Ledred Highway. But if you look at the bonding, probably in the first couple of years, you would probably spend over $200,000 in the interest alone for bonding. So the thought was always, let's just do it do it here, and then don't pay the interest. But the fear is that it would be cut, because it's usually like when people are trying to cut the budget, the easiest thing to cut is the roads. It just is. It's a big dollar amount, and we were hoping that that wouldn't happen. And I stood up and came up because I personally want our roads to stay on track, and we have been behind, but we do have it scheduled out for 1.3 in the future. And had been asked, how much can Public Works do in 1 year themselves? And the answer was about $1.3 million. That's what they could handle doing in their season of paving. So we said, all right, 1.3 is the amount you should get. Because if we were gonna do a bond, we'd probably still pay 1.3 a year. We'd still pay 1.3 a year on top of all the interest. So I want you to take that into consideration when you're making your decision. I don't want to tell you what to do. I just want to tell you my thoughts on, paving the roads in Groton. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Franco. All right, if there's no other first-time speakers, I'll recognize second-time speakers, Representative Good, followed by Powers. You got a hot mic there, Powers K. Don't make me start yawning up here.
I just wanted to ask on Industrial Drive, would there ever be any need for emergency vehicles, fire trucks, police, ambulance in that really bad section? And would not repairing it affect their ability to get there?
I can't speak about their ability to get there, but they potentially could need to access that road to get to the driveway that's off the cul-de-sac, for there's a portion of Amtrak's facility in the back there.
Or maybe a fire in the woods? Fire may need to get back there also, right?
Fire trucks and ambulances, they could need it to access, yes.
Okay, Representative Powers, S.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The question that I was going to ask is, do we have like a schedule that we're following? Is this what we're doing as far as the roads? You know, when was the last time this road was done? Do you know? The entire road? We've seemed to have done part of it, right? With
Industrial Drive, you're speaking?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it looks like it was, I don't know when it was last done, but it's been quite a while that that section's been done. The other part that's, you know, east of Knoxville, I'd say that's probably original.
The original road, so it's never really been done
Right.
since its origination. Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
All right, is there any other discussion on the second amended figure on the floor for CIP 1A roads? The number on the floor is $1.3 million, which is the town council's number. It needs a simple majority to pass. Okay, I'll call for a vote on second amended figure of $1.3 million for 1A CIP replacement, town pavement management program. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. Raise your hands. Burrell. I got Dean Shinbrot, Powers S, Pulaski, Adams, Bailey, Frickman. Okay. I got your hands, you're all set. All right, any abstentions? No abstentions. Okay, so we got to do the math here.
18 to 6.
Yeah. I got 7.
Burrell, Dinshimbra, Powers S, Pulaski, Adam, 1, 2, 3.
Adams,
5, 6,
Frickman,
yep.
and Bailey.
And
So I got 7.
7, yes.
So we've got 18 in favor, 7 opposed, no abstentions. So 1A passes for $1.3 million. Thank you. Chair Shinbrock, can you move on to the next item,
Love
please?
to. Next is CIP F Water Street Truck Loading Zone. Town Council zeroed out this number. So these number 0 was moved, voted on, and was approved for nothing.
Okay, so I don't believe we have to move that number. Is that correct, Town Manager Burt? Unless there's some, the number of 0 for 1F
Water
was
Street
zeroed
truck.
out by the Town Council, so,
If that's.
I mean, unless there's some compelling RTM member that wants to restore this fund, we can just move along.
And just say I'm okay zeroing it, keep it at 0.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's move along.
F2, drainage. Greg explained that we have flooding problems within the town, some that have gone on for quite a while, and caused measurable problems. This account would be addressed, and so would these issues. So A was the culvert rehabilitation. Number was $200,000 was moved and approved for nothing.
Okay, can you please move that number?
I'd like to move $200,000 for account CIP 2A, culvert rehabilitation.
Okay, motion was moved by Representative Dean Shinbrot, seconded by Representative Norman. It is CIP 2A, culvert rehabilitation. The main motion on the floor is for $200,000. I entertain discussion on this motion. Yes, Representative Powers S.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Could we just go over what we've read through the book as far as, from FYE 21 till now?
And again, for those that are out here, it's page 217 in the big book.
Okay, FYE 21, this is the Quaker Farm Road Bridge that's currently just getting finalized in design. That'll be going out to bid soon. And what we're requesting in FYE 25 is $200,000 for design and permitting to replace two culverts on River Road. One is at Binless Road, and the other one is between houses, I think it's 901 and 883. Both these culverts are old and failing. We've had numerous repairs done to keep the road from sinking in, and both these culverts are also located at low points in River Road. So as part of this project, we want to look at the potential of raising River Road at these locations because there has been many times, even during king high tides, that the road has been impassable at both these locations. So that would be part of this project.
And again, just to be clear, this is for the development and the planning of this site. It's going to
Correct.
end up becoming a bigger number in
For
the future,
construction.
and it also includes a 50-50 match from the state. Is that correct? That's what I'm looking in the big book anyways. Eventually, when this comes to us again.
That's for a bridge, but these are culverts. These wouldn't be classified as bridges. So we would definitely be looking for any grants that are out there. We would work with our sustainability and resiliency manager to look for grants. But we will be coming back with some construction funds once we know what those are.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion on this main motion on the floor? Representative Gardner?
Thank you. I'm a little slightly confused reading this because it said we were going to replace the culverts with a bridge and that the Connecticut DOT had committed to fund 50% of the total project cost.
That's for the Quaker Farm Road Bridge. That one's already been approved in previous years. We're talking about the ones that are for this year, which are for River Road. There's two culverts on River Road.
All right, I'm on the wrong page. Thank you.
I think I was in that same mindset with you, Gardner, so thank you for putting that out there. All right, any other questions on the main motion on the floor for CIP 2A, $200,000? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on CIP 2A, culvert rehabilitation. Main motion on the floor is for $200,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Please say no. Are there any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimously for 2A. Thank you.
Okay, 2B, local drainage improvements and new installation. Town council number was moved, $350,000, and was approved for nothing. So I'd like to move the number of $350,000.
Second.
Okay, motion was moved by Dean Shinbrot, seconded by Adams. Yes, I heard that, right? I was right. I know your voice. 2B, local drainage improvements, new installations for the amount of $350,000. I open up the floor for discussion on this motion. Okay, seeing none, I'll call for a vote on 2B, CIP, local drainage improvements, new installations for $350,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. Are there any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously, 25 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. Thank you.
Okay, next we move on to 3, sidewalks. Greg explained that this is an ongoing project to correct and, when needed, replace sidewalks throughout town. As many sidewalks age, the edges lift and may cause tripping hazards. The edges are ground down to make all of the pavement even. The replacement sidewalk construction, the town council number was $100,000 and was moved and approved for nothing. So I'd like to move $100,000 for.
Okay, motion was moved by Chair Dean Shinbrot, seconded by Powers S. CIP 3A, sidewalk replacement sidewalk construction for $100,000. I open up discussion on this motion. Okay, very well, seeing none, I'll call for a vote on CIP 3A, replacement sidewalk construction. The amount is for $100,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. Are there any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimously, 25-0-0.
Okay, sidewalks, 3B, infill sidewalk construction. Town council had zeroed out this number, and we approved 0 for nothing. On
Okay.
to public buildings. Public buildings, 6A was human services building. Greg explained that an additional $100,000 was needed to finish the window replacement in this building due to cost increases. If I remember right, it was predominantly because they found flaws or things that were not right while they were replacing windows. $100,000 was moved and approved for nothing, so I'd like to propose $100,000. I'd like to move that.
All right. Next item on the table is item CIP 6A, Human Services Building, moved by Representative Dean Shinbrot, seconded by Powers S. The amount is for $100,000. I open up the floor for discussion on this. All right, seeing no hands, I'm going to call for a vote on CIP 6A, Human Services Building, in the amount of $100,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Next, public buildings, C, Town Hall Complex. This money's to upgrade to CCTV systems at Town Hall. Current system uses DVR tape system. $75,000 was moved and approved for nothing, so I'd like to move $75,000.
Second.
Okay, motion was moved by Representative Dean Shinbrot, seconded by Representative Adams for CIP 6C, Town Hall Complex. The main motion on the floor is for $75,000. I open up the floor for debate on this motion. Very well. Seeing none, I will call for a vote on CIP 6C, $75,000 for Town Hall Complex. All those in favor? Please say aye.
Representative Obrey seems to have a question. Excuse me, sorry to interrupt.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I had my hand up, but are we talking $75,000 for just the clerk's office or both sides?
This is to replace the existing system that's in the tax office, the assessor's office, also the outside ballot box, and the judge of probate and clerk. So basically to do all the sensitive areas inside and outside of town hall.
I'm sorry?
To do, the entire inside and outside areas of town hall, the sensitive areas where there's public issues or where there's, cash money being transacted. The exterior ballot box.
Aren't we talking about replacing the floor?
No.
No. This is for a CCTV system.
I'm sorry, I thought somebody put $75,000 on for a new floor.
No, $75,000, but that's for the closed circuit cameras. That's correct, Director Hanover?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you for the correction. No problem.
Okay, any other discussion on this? All right. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on 6C, Town Hall Complex, for $75,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed, please say no or raise your hand. Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously, 25-0-0.
On to public buildings D, or F. Yeah, D, public library, $475,000. is the town council number, and it's to replace part of the roof. $75,000 is for piping and sumps for the fuel tank. This extends the life of the fuel tank system by 10 years. As stood in our meeting, 200,000 of this would come from LoCIP funds, and it would be appropriated by the town council towards the roof. No? Okay, that's not happening then, so. 200,000 apparently will not come from LoCIP.
Yes.
Yes.
Hold on, before we get on to any, we got to get a motion
Okay.
first before
So-
then we can open up discussion, please.
I'd like to move $550,000 that was moved and approved by 4-1 vote.
Second.
Right, I'm on the right one? D.
6D.
D, sorry. There we go. Look at that, how crafty. Spell check. Thank you. Okay, so main motion on the floor is for CIP 6D. The amount on the floor is $550,000 for the Groton Public Library. It was moved by Dean Shinbrot, seconded by Powers S. Now we can open up the clarification on that. We got our Director of Finance, Ms. Morrison, here. Thank you so much for being here. If you could just give us some clarity on these numbers. I guess the contention right now is what is being funded by LoCIP and what is going to be carried on by us as
Sure.
the town.
So the total was $550,000 for the ask for the project, but $200,000 would be funded from LoCIP, and $5,000 would be from fund balance of CIP. So the total requested funding for this would be $345,000.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so again, for those that are new to this, LoCIP funds are state funds. Am I not mistaken? I love those LoCIP funds because.
There's a formula that we allocated a certain amount each year.
Okay, and again, do we have to do an application for those or anything? Or
Not
it's
this
just
year.
Okay, not this
In
year,
the past,
okay.
you had to get-
In the past we did, but not anymore.
All right, and again, we have to approve this whole number in order to get the LoCIP number for that $200,000. So, as Director Morrison stated, we will be ponying up $345,000 for these upgrades.
Instead of 550.
Again, I gotta do a little sidebar here. If you guys don't know what I'm wearing my shirt with the disc golf. LoCIP funds help fund the disc golf course in 2020 fiscal year using LoCIP funds, and is a phenomenal resource to this town, and I frequent it at least 3 times a week. So, and if you wanna come out, I'll be happy to show you around. It's phenomenal. Okay, sorry for the sidebar. I get very excited for that. Any other discussion on this main motion on the floor? All right, seeing none, I'll call for a vote on 6D CIP for Groton Public Library in the amount of $550,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no or raise your hand. Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously, 25-0-0. Thank you.
A next public buildings, Town Hall Annex Complex. This money would be used to design the roof the design, not to replace the roof, but the design of the roof replacement. $30,000 was moved and approved for nothing, so I'd like to move $30,000.
Second.
Alrighty, CIP 6F, Town Hall Annex Complex. The amount on the floor is $30,000. I open up discussion on this main motion on the floor. You can find this on page 238 of your budget book. All right. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on CIP 6F, Town Hall Annex Complex. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Raise your hand. Are there any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously, 25 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. Thank you.
Okay, next is H, the Jabez Smith House. Greg gave an overview of the house and how the town acquired the house and land. $60,000 was moved and approved for nothing. So I'd like to move $60,000.
Second.
Motion was moved and seconded for CIP 6H, Jabez Smith House, for $60,000. I open up the floor for discussion on this motion on the floor.
There's that.
Yes, Representative Dudden.
Hi, and I do apologize for not being there, but thank you. I just have a question because I love this property, and as the historian in the room, I totally support this motion. Is there a way we could make the town more aware of this historic property we have? And that's just a question as part of a $60,000 budget, because I think it would be wonderful if people knew when the house was open for public viewing. And that's just a comment, so thank you for that, thank you, and that's it.
Thank you, Representative Dudden. Town Manager Burt? Don't blurt it out, all right?
Oh, just a little background on this first. The property with the Jabez Smith House on 117, that originally was also contained the Groton ambulance land as well as all of Grasso Gardens there. There's a reverter clause that we have to maintain this building or else the bulk of it goes back to the descendants. And some of the descendants did reach out this year with these particular complaints, so we're getting those fixed up. In terms of use, we used to have a caretaker on site, but with IRS rules, it got a little tricky because you have to pay them for all their time they're there. They have to pay rent, and so we moved away from that, and we've never quite figured out what to do with it. However, the library has put on 2 programs there recently, and we'd like to see that expand. So the library has a lot of interest in it, so I'm going to work with them.
If I'm not mistaken, too, I think for some of our OG RTM members, we had funded this over the past to try to keep and maintain it. And at one point, we were using it as a Fall Fest site or something to that nature during Fall Fest. Yeah, I know it was way before you. I know Town Manager Offinger was there, but any way that we could possibly market this in some of those special events when someone's driving by to one of our local parks or areas would be definitely helpful, if we can get the proper historian or caretaker to maintain it and be there for them. Okay. Any other discussion on this main motion?
Could I just ask a quick follow-up point of order?
No, it's not a point of order, it's just a quick question.
I know, quick question, sorry. This might be a wonderful thing to reach out to the Avery Point campus of UConn. And I'm just suggesting this, and Fitch, to have history students come learn how to give lectures. Museum studies is on the rise, and it's just a suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you. It also might be helpful to get our town historian involved too. Mr. Streeter, he's got a broad depth of information and history on all these great historical places. So that's great. Thank you. Any other?
Mr. Moderator?
Yes, Representative Massett.
In response to Representative Dutton, years ago, the various elementary schools would tour the building and there would be special programs and things for them to do. They don't do that anymore, but it used to happen.
Okay, thank you very much for that point of information. All right, any other discussion on CIP 6H, Jabez Smith House? The main motion on the floor is for $60,000. All right, seeing none, I'll call for a vote on 6H, CIP for Jabez Smith House and $60,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
All those opposed, please say no and raise your hand. Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously, 25-0 to 0. Thank Thank you.
Okay, next is L leased buildings. The town council number was 0, so committee moved 0 and approved it 4-0. On to M police. Greg gave an overview of the maintenance needed, including a renovation to the locker room. Town council number was $500,000 and was moved and approved 4-0. So I'd like to move $500,000.
Sorry, folks, my pen's dying here. This is CIP 6M, Police. The main motion on the floor is for $500,000. It was moved by Representative Dean Shinbrot, seconded by Powers S. I open up discussion for this main motion. Very well. It's for, if you're looking, Representative Pulaski, this is on page 241 in your book. Well, I'm glad I mentioned it then, okay? Seeing no, okay, Representative Norman?
Can I ask what the state of the women's locker room is?
The women's locker room was constructed when they did the addition for the emergency dispatch area, which was probably about, 15 years ago now, maybe. So that was all new, built, as part of that project. So they're in good shape. But the police are original to the building, which is from 1979. I mean the men's room, I'm sorry. The men's locker room.
Any other further discussion? Seeing none, I'm going to call for a vote on CIP 6M. Oh, yes, 6M, Police. The amount on the floor is $500,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Raise your hand. Any abstentions? Motion carries 25-0 to 0. Just to let everybody know that Representative Whitney M. is now in attendance. We have 26 members present.
Okay, on to, townwide door access system. This is to replace the current system, which I remember Greg giving a great speech about, and I can't remember why it needed to be replaced, but it certainly made sense at the time. The number, town council number was $85,000. We moved that. It was approved 4-0. So I'd like to move $85,000.
Motion was moved and seconded for CIP 6O, town-wide door access system. The amount is $85,000. I open up the floor for discussion on this motion. And just to be clear, it's on page 242 of your book. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on item CIP 6O, town-wide door access system. Main motion on the floor is for $85,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed, please say no and raise your hand. Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously, 26-0 to 0.
Okay, next is P, Spring Street seawall. This is to repair a seawall that met its demise when a snowplow slid and crashed into it. The amount, town council number was $175,000, which we moved and approved 4-0. So I'd like to move $175,000.
Second.
Motion was moved and seconded for CIP 6P, Spring Street seawall, moved by Dean Shinbrot, seconded by Adams, and I open up the floor for discussion. Representative Powers S.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Quick question. It says that it was during a snowstorm and the plow truck hit the wall, Greg? Director Hanover, I mean?
That's correct.
Did we get an insurance claim for that, or?
We checked into insurance, and this type of loss is a $500,000 deductible.
Okay,
so
great.
It
Just-
doesn't cover it.
Yep, I just wanted that clarified. Thank you.
Representative Casper?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I've got one question. If this is to protect, I mean, it's essentially a crash barrier. Any thoughts about putting sand barrels in front of it like they do at, the state does at some places to absorb the crash?
Yeah, I mean, the plan is to replace it with a reinforced concrete wall, and the speeds that they'd be going down, I don't see the need for the crash barriers,
Well, the sand barrels are softer than concrete. That's reinforced.
Yeah, but the concrete is designed to keep vehicles from, going through it. This is just basically a stone masonry wall that the truck went halfway through and hung up over the water.
Does it get hit often?
No.
Let's hope not.
Yes.
Any other discussion on the main motion on the floor for CIP 6P, $175,000? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on CIP 6P, Spring Street Seawall for $175,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. Raise your hand. Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously, 26-0.
Okay.
All right.
Moving
Home
on.
stretch there.
Almost there. 10, water pollution control facility. B, pump station. As monies to replace the pump station. We need $1 million, and that was approved by the town council, and that's what we approved, 4-0. So I'd like to move $1 million.
Second.
All right, motion moved by Dean Shinbrot, seconded by Powers S. for CIP 10B pump stations, $1 million. I'll hand it over to Director Hanover. Thank you.
Just to be clear, this CIP and the next one, these are all funded by the sewer user fees, so there's no general taxation money being used for these.
So in essence, this is self-funded through that account?
Correct.
All right. You can all smile with that one. Any other discussion on this 10B CIP for $1 million? All right, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor of CIP 10B for $1 million, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, please say no or raise your hand. Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously, 26-0. Last one.
The last one. Okay, here we go. 10D, treatment facility. Greg explained that this money is to upgrade the clarifier tank. The existing mechanisms have reached the end of their life. $60,000 was moved and approved for nothing, and I'd like to move $60,000.
Motion was moved. I just need a second.
Second.
All right, I didn't hear that second. I think it was Gardner, right? Good? I think it was good. I'll go with good. Sounds good to me. CIP 10D was moved by Dean Shinbrot, seconded by Good for $60,000. I open up discussion on this, and as Director Hanover already stated, this $60,000 would be paid for through the sewer operating fund or through that. It's self-funded, is that correct?
That's correct.
Sounds good to me. All right, any other discussion on this? Oh, yes, Finance Director Morrison. D or C? Oh, shucks,
Oh,
not bad.
goodness.
All right.
That's what I get for putting away
Let
my
me out of order
notes.
here. Okay, now we're back in order. All right. Any other discussion on this main motion on the floor? Ooh. Okay. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on CIP 10C. All those in favor of the $60,000 motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, please say no. Any abstentions? All right. Motion carries unanimously.
To make one more motion, I'd like to make a motion to approve the notes.
Okay, yes, please,
Yes.
let's do that. Okay, motion has been moved and seconded, moved by Dean Shinbrot, seconded by Powers S, to approve the minutes as presented for the CIPs that we just dealt with. Is there any other discussion on approval of these minutes? All right, seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Any abstentions? All right, that is it for now. I'd like to thank Director Hanover and his staff for coming down here this evening. Thank you so much. I am going to take a slight recess so that we can get Town Manager Burt and Director Morrison to crunch the numbers, and then we'll come back and deal with the last 3 funds on the account. Sound good? All right, I believe there's snacks over there. Thank you, District 6, for bringing it up. Got me with that whooping line.
Recording in progress.
All right. Okay, we've got back from recess. Again, thank you for all that brought the snacks. That whoopie pie was fantastic, and it was gluten-free, just in case my wife is listening. We got 3 accounts to deal with right now, 1073, 1075, and 5010. I'm going to turn it over to the Chair of Finance, Mr. Powers.
Thank you,
Please
Mr.
proceed.
Moderator. 1073, contributions to other funds, is found on page 168. Director Morrison was with us. A motion was made by Representative Norman, seconded by Representative Pulaski to move $1,161,594. Our discussion was there was a decrease in this fund, and this is a center of funding to hold money, and as other revenue streams come into the budget, the reevaluation fund is a good example of the revenue streams and the account being funded in certain accounts. These funds are moving with other accounts, so it's quite a moving number. These are end-of-the-year budget items which will be adjusted. Chairman Powers asked for a vote, 7 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. I'd like to move $1,161,594.
All right, motion was moved by Powers S., seconded by Norman. The account is 1073, contribution to other funds. The amount on the floor is $1,161,594. Is there any discussion on this motion on the floor?
Yeah.
All right, do I still have moon pie on my face? Okay, just checking. It was real good. All right, seeing none, I'll call for a vote. Oh, Representative Bailey, I see you over there. Representative Bailey, do you have a question?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for the town manager. I see a line item on that page for 1073 in the budget book. There's 1073 09 for $30,000, Human Services Assistance Fund. I know like last week, we approved $30,000 for the Human Service Assistance Fund, which was a new fund, and it was under, if you give me a moment, I'll look it up real quick. It was under, 10, what was it? Oh, my God. It would be under 7360. That was from last week, and that was for $30,000. And I see the same Human Service Assistance Fund in 1073 in the budget book where we're at right now for $30,000. I was wondering if that was just a mistake or.
No, it's the same thing. It's reflecting it. What this budget does, you have to have a way to take the tax dollars out of the general fund and put them into those outside funds. This is the way.
Hold on one sec. Representative Bailey's going to give you the response.
This is the same thing. It's just reflecting what the RTM already did. This fund is the way you move funds, basically out of the tax dollars moved or general fund into these other funds, or just generally where you move funds around. So the $30,000 out of taxes goes through this mechanism to that Human Services Fund. So it's just reflecting the movement of it. These are all just based on decisions you've already made. So nothing here is new.
In essence, it's just accounting for what approvals we've already made and the town council has made. Does that make sense, Representative Bailey?
That makes sense. Thank you very much.
Roger that. Representative Adams?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'd like to move a number, please, considering the fact that these 3 accounts that we're dealing with now cannot be changed. I mean, based on the new figure, I'd like to move $10,224,594, please.
That would require a second.
Second.
All right, motion is moved and seconded for a first amended figure of $10,224,594. Let me put it on the board. Okay, and I believe that again, correct me if I'm wrong, Representative Adams, these are including 1073, 1075, and 510, which are the calculated numbers based on our finance director has given us for these remaining accounts that are on the books that we need to approve. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And we've done this in the past. If anybody wants clarification for any of these, the 1075 capital reserves or.
Yep, point of order?
Yes. Yes.
Am I being recognized?
I said yes.
Oh, thank you. So this is Representative M. Whitney. I think the original motion was just for one account, and in an amendment, can we bundle in 3 accounts? I'm not sure if we can do that. I'm supportive of it if we can. I just want to make sure we actually can.
Well, since there was an objection to it, I will have to say that since we don't know and I can't really say yes or no, how about we retract this amended figure, okay? And if whoever made the motion on 1073 withdraws their motion and withdraws the second to that motion, Mr. Gardner, then we can go ahead and reintroduce what Representative Adams had already proposed. So I'm going to take this off for being out of order. And now, if we could get a retraction of that main motion,
I'll retract the motion.
we can retract our second.
$1,161,594.
That would be you, Representative Gardner, if you want to retract it.
I think that was actually Representative Adams that seconded that motion.
Oh, no, that was Norman, I'm sorry.
Or Norman.
I retract it.
Thank you.
I'm worried your math is wrong. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's wrong. I think it's 9.
Representative Adams, can you run that back as a mulligan?
$10,224,594.
Second.
Okay, Representative Adams moved the motion. Representative Dean Shinbrot seconded. This is to clear out accounts 1073, 1075, and 5010. The amount in total for those 3 accounts is $10,224,594. Is that right? Yes, okay, so we got clarification from the higher-ups that that is a correct number. And again, that is based on all the deliberations and approvals that we've made throughout the last meetings. So is there any discussion on approval of this main motion for these 3 last accounts? Just to be clear, Representative Whitney F. is here, so we have 27 members present. Okay, seeing no discussion on this, I will move for a vote on this main motion of $10,224,594. I've already called for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. And raise your hand if you say no. And abstentions. All right, that motion carries unanimously, 27-0. Thank you. However, we do need to approve your brief minutes, if you don't mind, sir.
Chairman Bowers asked for a motion to adjourn, made by Dean Shinbrot and Representative Norman seconded. The meeting was adjourned at 8:15. Thank you. I asked for these minutes to the meeting to be moved as read into the record.
Okay, just
Second, Watson.
Just seconded by Watson. All right, moved by Powers S, seconded by Watson. Any discussion on approval of these minutes? All right, seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. All right, So, with that being said, we have concluded our budget deliberations. Representative Fox, do you have a question?
I don't know if I screwed this up or not, but I had a reconsideration, if that's possible to do, or have I missed on that?
What are you trying to reconsider?
I would like to reconsider the amount that we put in for the repairs or upgrades of the auditorium under the school budget.
Yes.
Motion, point of, do you want to?
I got you. I'm all the way ahead of you. Okay, so the rules with reconsideration is that it has to be announced the night of that meeting to act on for the next meeting. Since that was done on May 1st, and we had the opportunity to do that either May 1st, or we had the opportunity to address that again at the next meeting, which was Monday, May 5th, I believe, if I'm going back in time. So in order to do that, you would have to be on the prevailing side of that argument or that vote, and then you would have to announce it or post your intentions that you wanted to reconsider it the next day.
So I've missed it.
Correct.
Thank you.
Roger that. Okay. Yes, Representative Watson, you have a hand up?
Yeah, isn't this one continuous meeting?
I was actually going to mention that. It is
Yes.
it's one continuous meeting. It can be reconsidered.
It can.
Because it's one meeting.
Point of order. I think we should check, because Robert's rules say that if it is a meeting over more than one day, it is either during that meeting time or the next day of that meeting.
I was in agreement with you, Representative Norman, on that, based on what we saw here. Thank you. Give me the old cheat sheet. Thank you. Page 58, and again, this is just an abbreviation. If you'd like, I can read it. If a motion has been, this is the motion to reconsider. If a motion has been either adopted or defeated during a meeting, and at least one member who voted on the winning side wants to have the vote reconsidered, such a member may make the motion to reconsider. This motion can only be made by a member who voted on the winning side. As you know, Representative Hanscom did this, and I believe Representative Powers S. did that on the day of May 1st. That is to say that if the motion was adopted, the motion to reconsider can be made only by a member who voted in favor of the motion, by a member who, instead of a member that voted against that motion passing or failing. This motion can, however, be seconded. Again, another important thing that you must know about reconsider is that there is only a limited period of time within which it can be made. In the usual case, this motion can be made only on the same day on which the vote sought to be considered was taken. Okay, so the only exception to this rule in this case of a session, such as a lengthy conversation in which meetings take place over a period more than one day, in that event, the motion to reconsider can be made on the same day the original vote was taken or on the next succeeding day within the session on which the business meeting is held. So, as I said, I'm going to stand with that unless somebody wants to appeal the ruling of the chair, which you have the right to do so under Robert's rules. But you would have had to have done it, Representative Fox, the day of, on Wednesday the 1st, or the next successive meeting, which was going to be on that Monday meeting when we were here in present. Okay? Okay. Thank you. Representative Fritchie?
I don't know if everybody's aware of this, but we've discussed this. Reasoning for doing this is because if we approve and the authorization to spend the money for the auditorium, $141,000, that we would potentially lose the grant because the state might consider you've already got the money and we're going to cancel the grant, which means it's $141,000 out of our pockets unnecessarily. So if I were to say something right now, I would say, what can we do to make sure that we don't jeopardize getting the grant funds from the state?
My best suggestion for this RTM body would be to contact the Board of Education and contact the town council on that matter and try to get clarification from them. Again, one of the things that I've heard, at least from membership here as well as the community at large while we were going through these deliberations, is part of our agenda on every monthly meeting is to have the report of the superintendent. I would like to at least have them attend at least every other so that we can have these discussions. And I will, if, again, without objection, I will be writing a letter to the superintendent of schools, especially considering the restoration of funds that we have given to the school district, that they attend our June or July meeting or both to try to find out what, again, you guys had great questions during that, what employees are going to be cut, what programs are going to be initiated, and things like that, so we know what our decisions have made as a result of the budget that we approved. So the other thing that I will bring up again is I think everyone here has made some really good comments and having good conversations regarding certain budget items. Please don't stop, okay? I've been here for at least 12 years now doing this in this capacity or as a member down on the floor. Sometimes we get a little fatigued after a long budget session like this. I would highly recommend if you have a referral that you would like to bring to the town RTM as well as the town council, please forward it to me so that we can have conversations about this. Again, there are some things that we really have to kind of be careful with because we're only limited in certain financial situations, but that doesn't mean we can't have the conversation and quite possibly doing what a couple of representatives mentioned, writing a letter or doing something to that nature to say, hey, we would like to see some action on item A, B, or C. So I am going to be that advocate for this group. If you are willing to do it, I am willing to support those initiatives as well. So please, let's not forget why we're here. I mean, we're here to approve this budget, but we're also here to try to work on some of these big questions that are pertaining to Groton as a whole. All right, if there is no other discussion, I will entertain actually I won't. Without objection, I will move to adjourn this meeting. All right, we don't even have to. There's no objection. So we can just go ahead and do it. All right, so there's no objection. I'd like to thank all the RTM members here, all the RTM members on Zoom. I'd like to thank all of our professional town staff, our wonderful town clerk's office for doing such a great job. Thank you for getting us through all this. And we will see you again in June. Representative Powers, we're going to have a conversation regarding getting some of these referrals to your committee for the end of the month, okay? Again, thank you so much, guys. Meeting is adjourned.
Good night.